Alright, this video we're going to talk about at least what I'll call the real aspects of the job market here in the U.S. And what I mean by that is what's really going on, not what you hear. Because whenever you talk about looking for work or trying to find a job post-COVID, okay, you hear a lot of things, and most it's rhetoric. It's just like this. Well, young people don't want to work. People don't want to work, okay? The younger people are lazy, or people just don't want to spend the time in that and go to work. Well, there is a little bit of truth in that, but the situation, there's a lot of factors, okay, when it comes to coming to this conclusion. There's the economy, which actually is in very, very bad shape right now. Okay, no matter what anybody says, inflation, unemployment, and a lot of this stuff is false data, okay? There's a shitload of people who are unemployed and not even bothering looking for a job, okay? Your education system is not producing people that are capable of self-discipline, self-control to do things in a mindset to hold a job, okay? Then also technology in that is evolving where there are a lot of jobs being eliminated. There are a lot of, little temporary part-time jobs. Like my mother was a receptionist in a bank for the one office there. She sat at a front desk or a desk, and she was a receptionist in this establishment. Those jobs are all eliminated. There are a lot of jobs that don't exist anymore. Okay? Receptionist in an office, you call and you have an automated response, do all this stuff. There are a ton of other jobs too. It's too long to get in there, but they just don't exist anymore. Okay? Technology has replaced these jobs for people, and every passing day it gets worse and worse. All right, so when you go out and say, okay, nobody wants to work, they can't find anyone, and all this other stuff, I myself have gotten out, and I thought I was retired. I wasn't. I was looking for part-time work, so I did something with the education department. I did something in retail, okay? And I was forced to go back to what I've done all my life, is manufacturing. And also when you look at jobs and what's out there and what's hiring and what's going on, there's a really vast difference on what field or what type of job you're looking for, okay? Because truthfully, if you want a job tomorrow, you just go down. If you're a skilled machinist, you have a job. They call my house 3 times a week for just local manufacturing, just looking for someone, okay, at all different levels, from entry level to where, they're looking for supervisors, lead men, things like that. But if you're into IT, if you're a programmer and into that technology stuff, that's kind of a difficult and treacherous area. Okay, I've seen information and watched videos on that. Okay, and just the simple jobs, working in a giant retail store part-time, either stocking shelves or something like that. That also is a difficult position to get into. You'd figure it wouldn't be that hard to, with all the different chain grocery stores, and there's only a few positions that are always open, and usually those are the ones where the job is a royal pain in the ass and difficult to do, okay, be it physical demand or whatever, and those are the only ones you'll find open, okay. So the reality of it is also, and just using common sense, like I said, we'll go back to the technology thing. Um, as technology goes on, like paying your bills online, okay, other than writing a check, mailing it in, people pay it online because, I think, what is it, 60, 70 cents now to mail any kind of a letter or envelope or whatever. So, how this eliminates jobs is, number one, the post office ain't making no revenue because you're not mailing nothing. The bill collection agency, because I knew a girlfriend of mine, her sister worked there, and I seen her at the post office. There were people that would go there to the post office with their ID for the company, and I mean push a huge cart with tons of payments in there, which those payments went to a processing center, okay, which I knew people that worked in the payment processing center, which is quite a large building. It was an old store of some sort. And people just would take these checks, run them through, get them deposited, and enter all of this on a computer. Well, when you go paperless, and why everybody likes having paperless, number one, they don't have to print anything, which is an expense. Number two, they don't have to mail anything, which is an expense. So you're basically saving the bank, financial institution, or whatever, a ton of money by you paying online or setting up, automatic payments, okay? That eliminates a shitload of jobs, okay? And yeah, and in the end, it kind of does save you money, but also, if there's some sort of EM spike or computers or things get wiped out, then all your records, all your stuff is gone. There's no physical evidence left. It's kind of bad there, but it's a way they eliminate jobs. Okay. Now, when you go to the retail stuff, post-COVID, what they did is they paid people more, but they also narrowed down the number of employees. And post-COVID, any business that can run with less employees, with less service, say whatever or however, they've narrowed it down to where they run bare bones with the employees they got. And a lot of people after COVID, these jobs they had, be it part-time jobs, and I know several people that they're out of work, okay, they don't have a job. And there's no new jobs really being created, okay? Then you throw in the wild card of all of these undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants coming into the country. Now, what happens there is you got this giant pool of people who are willing to work. They came from a third world country where they might have made $10 a week. Now you're paying them, say, $5 or $8 an hour under the table, okay? They're happier than hell. They can actually save money, send it back home. And what happens now is, if you're trying to get into entry level or minimum wage jobs, there's so many illegals in here, now you're screwed. You cannot find a legitimate job, okay? This takes away from the job base, as you would say, okay? So, and this is all created by the government. This is not done by accident. This is not it just happens, okay? This is planned, this is done, and they're trying to destroy the economy, okay? I mean, when I worked for that big box home improvement center, they had some kind of weird thing to where the employees, you'd put $1 or a certain percentage of your paycheck into a pool so that if something happened to somebody, like the transmission in their car broke down and they needed $2,000 to fix it so they can come to work, there was this money that you could get, or their computer for their kid went out. Their kid needs a laptop to go to school and they need $600. There was some kind of fund that we all chipped into I don't know how it worked, but if an emergency came up like that for an employee, the money would be taken from this fund to help them get this and get back on track again, which to me, it's like insurance, but it's more socialism than, actual American, with the America I was used to. Okay. And then again, wages, another thing. We'll go back to my field, manufacturing. Nobody wants to do this. Now, why is it? Is it because younger people are lazy? Is it because, people are stupid or whatever? What it is, this job, okay, you have to show up at the factory. You have to actually do something and physically produce an item, so many in a allotted period of time, okay? Not when you feel like it, not taking breaks or, taking your time, not being stressed. No, you have to produce so many parts within an hour, okay? And you have to do this for 8 to 10 hours a day, every day, sometimes 6 days a week, okay? If, say, you're supposed to make 10 parts an hour and you're making 4 or 5, that's not good. You're getting paid, but the company isn't making money, and eventually the company will go out of business and then you will not have a job, see? And the problem is people come in with an attitude and it's kind of like, well, I'll do it, I'll get there, and this and that. That's not how this job works, okay? And if management isn't on your back, and the reason management doesn't get on their backs, because when somebody's out there keeping an eye on guys and driving them, they just quit and leave, okay? So this is why there's a shortage. And also, you have to be focused. You have to concentrate on what you're doing, running the equipment, inspecting the parts, making sure everything's all right. And you have to also, put an effort forward to get it done quick. You don't drag your feet or stand around or talk or whatever. And I've found that younger people do not have this mindset. They can't concentrate. They can't focus. They're not self-disciplined. Okay? I mean, it got to where they couldn't count the parts, how many parts to put in the box before we'd ship it. They would screw that up. I mean, I learned to count in kindergarten. I can count to 26 or 27 parts or keep track of it. There's ways of doing it when you are disciplined, self-disciplined, pay attention, and actually give a shit about what the hell you're doing during the day, which obviously people nowadays don't. People do not like a set routine. People do not like repetitive stuff. And that's why in that field, if you really need a job, okay, look into manufacturing. They'll hire you in a minute, okay? So you got all these weird factors, and the truth is it's difficult to find a job. And a lot of people, when I hear them talk, they want a job that's stress-free. Well, I've found that the jobs that are stress-free don't really pay you a whole hell of a lot, and, aren't that good of a job, at least as far as I'm concerned. The ones that do pay you, have a lot of stress. You have to be responsible. You have to be aware of what you're doing. And that's why I like the service. When I was working in the retail store, I was just moving things around, but all these people would come from different departments asking me a question about lumber, about plumbing, about this, about that. And the people supposedly working in the departments would either hide or not answer them or avoid the customers. So I'm like, why are you here? Okay? And why doesn't the company get rid of these people? Oh, that's right. Then there'd be nobody in the store. So, it's all a scam, much like and that's another thing, like I said about Social Security. When you don't have people working, they're not funding the system. Okay? That's another thing. When people don't work or are not getting paid a lot of money, because it's a percentage of what they make goes into Social Security. Now that's why your whole economy, all your government stuff is collapsing. They're raising taxes. Inflation's getting out of control. And you know, there are truthfully less jobs out there. Okay? Because I remember I went for an interview for a security guard. Okay? Unarmed security guard. They had put an ad in the paper. There were 60 people there showed up in the first hour. So it isn't like people are avoiding work or not looking for work. Okay, that's where the contradiction and the bullshit kind of comes in. Okay, people are looking for work because, like they say, well, you got all these people, it's just millions of them that dropped out and aren't even bothering looking. Well, how do they survive? How are they making money? You know, that's highly realistic. And why isn't the government doing something to stop this or correct it? Okay, these are the questions. All right, but all in all, there are less jobs out there. It is more difficult to find a job that pays anything. Okay, there's a bunch of factors working against you. And then again, like I said, the way our education system is and the way people are taught and brought up, they don't have the ability to concentrate. They don't have the mindset of self-discipline, of responsibility, of, paying attention. There are a lot of people out there, and it's irregardless of the age, that don't have this quality just to perform even a simple task. Okay, moving construction material from one point to the other. Take it off the truck and put it over here. Okay, not over there, or not somewhere that you feel more comfortable taking it to. It's, there's a reason they want you to place material in an area so it helps the efficiency of the project going on. Okay, I mean, there's people that can't do a simple task like that. Their mind just doesn't click to understand this. So yeah, I could go on forever, but those are my thoughts on it. And yeah, combined, it's not a very cheerful outlook for our country, our society, and the quality of life in the United States. Every day gets worse. Okay? And all you hear is rhetoric and nonsense and bullshit. And there isn't a single government agency or a government trying to correct or do anything to solve these problems. Actually, they're creating the problems and making it worse for an agenda of the destruction of our society and economy. All right. That's my thoughts on it, guys. Stay tuned.